Give it away.
Let's get to the show. Have we ever lost our mind? It is Christmas in September.
It feels like it in this room.
Well, that's the purpose. I didn't want you all to fall asleep today. Merry Christmas! We left cookies out for Santa, or you, if you want to eat the cookies, that's great. But let me bring you into reality just a minute. What's today's date?
September 26th.
September 26th, right? What is a real estate cycle? What you work on today, you will.
90 days later.
90 days.
You will,
90 days.
yeah. 90 days later. So guess what?
Christmas.
It's the day after Christmas in the real estate business.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Love that.
We didn't even get to decorate the tree.
Okay, so here's my point. I want you to take your pencil and write down the number of transactions you intended to complete this year. Write down the number that you intended to complete this year as you munch on the Santa cookie. Write down the number of transactions you intended to complete this year. Everybody got their number? Below that number, I want you to write down the number of transactions you currently have completed. I want you to write down the number of transactions you currently have completed. Subtract that number from your first number, and you'll come up with your third number. And you've got to get that done in 90 days, baby. Lord.
Lord ever.
Lord help us.
Being a mess of that truck here.
It's kind of a reality check, isn't it? It's 90 days. Has anybody met their goal? Is anybody on target? So we can celebrate you. Okay, we're a bunch of slackers. But we have great potential, right?
That's it.
We have great potential. So, we'll spend about 5 minutes here, since we're all short a little bit, and let's talk about what we can do in the next 2 weeks to generate a closing before December. What can we do? This is all about you, by the way. Lead generating. What could we specifically do to lead generate?
Call a database.
Say it again.
Call a database.
And what are we going to say when we call them? That's a good answer, by the way.
Yeah,
You're
I
not
think I
coming back
would just
to
say
yours.
that I set a goal at the beginning of the year to assist maybe 20 families to buy, sell, or invest in real estate. I'm only at 15. Can you help?
Could you help? Did you hear her script? I didn't see not one pencil moving. A little bit concerned about that. Just gave you a great script. I set a goal to close 20 transactions. I'm at 15. Oh, I do see some fingers moving. That makes me a little- I'm at 15. Could you help me? Who do you know who needs to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? That's one way. How many of you have a listing right now? You have a listing. Could you maybe get that listing sold before the end of the year? That would be a good way to knock some of that off, if you have more than one or two. So my question then becomes, and somebody can help share this answer, what do you need to do to sell that listing that you have that hasn't sold yet?
Market or price reduction.
Market it or price reduction?
Right.
What would that look like? How many have one that you know that's overpriced a little bit? And are willing to play with me on that?
I've got
Andrew?
one that's a little over.
Okay, Andrew, are you willing to play with me on that one?
Sure.
Okay, what's the current price of your listing?
700,000.
700,000. What does it need to be reduced to sell today?
650.
650. Are you confident in that? If you had that property at 650, you're confident.
Yes, I mean, that was the initial price that
The initial price that you told them.
we've been on the market for about 70 days now.
It's been on the market about 70 days now. What needs to happen for you to get that? You're confident that you had it 650
Yeah,
selling
we
it.
were originally at 750.
Okay.
That's how far apart we were.
Wow,
I got her to do one price reduction at 50,000,
perfect.
and then.
Well, not perfect, but
Yeah.
we need 650.
And so for the last 3 weeks, I've been working on another 50,000 price reduction.
Working on another 50,000. Can anybody help Andrew with a great script for a price reduction? Yeah,
Just
Jill.
say, how are you gonna feel if 6 months from now we're still on the market? You know, what will that look like to you?
Okay, how would you feel if we're 6 months from now and we're still on the market, or how many ever months you wanna pull? Lanisha?
Maybe you can talk to her about,
Can't hear you, babe.
the carrying costs, the
The
amount of money that
carrying
she's
costs.
spending every month, and compare that to what she's trying to.
I think it doesn't hurt her as much because she owns it free and clear.
Got it.
What's
Big
that?
difference.
Yeah.
Don't you see those people? They don't follow the script.
What's her
Kill it.
urgency, what's her urgency to move?
Yeah, what's her motivation?
She bought a condo in New York and she moved there. So the house is vacant. It's here in Brookhaven.
I just paid my tax bill, but $7,800.
Oh,
$7,800. I'm not selling that out. Even if she owns it free and clear. That went out just a little bit. Yeah. What else? Katie. I was trying to put your staples with your Katie.
You can use staples. If the comps are a little bit lower, I would say, do you want to sell the other homes, or do you want to price it so that you sell your home?
That's a good one.
It's sassy. I like it.
It's
I don't know how long she's been out of it, but what about capital gains tax if she goes past that, like, period of time, I don't know. If she
Oh,
been
that
out
is
for a
it,
long-
but-
Yeah.
I've got a question. Andrew, is she thinking, might sound stupid, is she thinking logically or emotionally right now?
That's a great question, John.
I feel like she's thinking emotionally because I send weekly comps to say, you know, like last week in Area 51 in her price range, I believe 8 homes sold or went under contract. And I sent them to her and I said, you know, it's very apparent that people are choosing these houses because her reasoning is I have a very large house. It's a 2-story on a basement, like 6 bedrooms. And it's partially updated, but it's very obvious that people are picking more move-in ready, updated, smaller homes that are on a slab in the same price range. And when I share this with her, she's just so adamant that her house is worth it because of the size, location,
Okay, so
the
here we
neighborhood.
go. You know that when you respond, if they're thinking logically, you respond emotionally. And most of the responses you have, based upon you giving her all the information, so she thinks she's making a logical decision. So in my opinion, your call, because you're talking to her on the phone, right?
Right.
You need to do a video conference call, and what's gonna move her is your emotion. Meaning the emotion is gonna move her, not the logic, because you've already given her enough logic, and her logic is not kicking in 70 days. The market has spoken. So this is where your salesmanship on the phone emotionally will move her, that you are doing the best for her and her family, and that they need to lower it to 650 or whatever that number is, because that's what's gonna help their family. If not, you're doing as a professional detriment to her, that allow her to continue this painful process when you know the truth that's in her profession.
Can I put you on the spot? Will you be Andrew? Andrew, will you be your client? Will you all roll for that?
So Andrew, I have continued to send you some vital information. Have you had an opportunity to look at that information I sent you?
Yeah, I took a look at it, and you know, to be honest, John, you know, those homes I can't really compare them to mine. I mean, I'm in such a better location, and you know, the other homes weren't on a basement. You know, we have a really nice house, and I feel confident at $700,000. We're just gotta find the right buyer.
Andrew, I know you have a nice house. You know you have a nice house, but the market is not saying you have a nice house at this price. Now, Andrew, you hired me to get your property sold, and you know I care for you and your family, don't you?
Yes,
And you know I want to do the very best for you, correct?
that's correct.
Andrew, if I attempted to sell your house at $750 because you wanted me to do it, and I did it for you. Because I'm a friend of yours and I work for you. But as your professional agent, My job, and you are hiring me to sell this property, right?
Correct.
Andrew, if you do not make the move to adjust this price to $650, it will sit longer and longer because the market is shifting. And Andrew, please trust in me. Do you trust I can get your property sold?
I do.
I can get your property sold at $650. So let's go ahead and make that move today and get your property sold and not just continue on the market. How's that sound to you?
Well, John, don't you think if we did more marketing or, you know, more open houses that
Andrew,
we might find the right buyer?
honestly, we could run the Super Bowl ad and it wouldn't sell at that price. Marketing is not gonna sell. You know what? If that was the case, why don't we list it for $2 million?
Well, John, I don't think it's gonna sell for $2 million.
And it's not gonna sell for $700 because it hasn't. It's gonna sell for $650. Now, I'm as confident in that as that the sun is bright. Now, are you ready to get your property sold, Andrew, or did you just want to sit there in New York with another tax bill and an asset that's losing value?
Yeah, I guess you're right, John.
Bam! That's great, John. Give you one more. I can't talk John.
Thanks, John.
Never been able to. But
Start.
one of the scripts that I used a lot was, so Andrew, if we don't lower the price of this house, I can pretty much guarantee you it is not going to sell. What is your plan B?
I guess I haven't really thought that far, Robin.
Neither has anybody else about it. And so what you just said is, I've gotta do something differently than I was. And just, they don't think like that. They don't have a plan B, because they're trusting in plan A. And you have to be the mirror that says, that ain't gonna get it. To hold that up. So selling a listing could be a great way to get a commission and a closing done before December 26th, right? Right? And if you get a listing, you get it priced well on sale. What else could you do? We could prospect, we could get a listing sold. Is there anything else we can do? Get a buyer off the fence. Who has a buyer on the fence? Yeah. What are some scenarios that we're having with buyers on the fence right now? What is their story they're telling themselves? Okay.
They don't have a timeline.
Okay. So urgency.
Right. But when we sat down
In February.
they live in Ackworth and they work like Smyrna, basically. So the commute was really their driver, but they don't have a timeline. So I guess what I could say is, I mean, how much longer do you want to commute back and forth? 1,000 miles in your car.
What's when the pain of the same
Yeah.
becomes greater than the pain of the change,
Right.
it will change. So how big can you make that pain of making that drive? And your bypass is 175 didn't help your cause.
No, it did not help.
Cause that moves traffic.
Well,
a little
another
bit
thing
faster.
that I did yesterday is I sent an email to somebody that also doesn't have a timeline, and I went into detail. We scanned the information that CBC sent us gave us last week, since they didn't send it to us electronically like they were supposed to.
This is Dr. Hamilton.
I'm Frida, and I'm bold.
That's my cell phone number. I know you know it.
I know
off the top
it.
of your head.
Listen, I'm cutting up with them because they're my go-to people always, especially Jim. I don't know the other guys as much, but Jim is.
You need to meet Frida.
But anyway, so I sent an email to somebody that's on the fence, and I just shared that information, and in an email I explained that you'll see on page 1 if you're looking to buy a $300,000 home today, and I went into a paragraph form that explained what that meant, and then I said, and on page 2 you'll notice the loan amounts at different interest rates and how that will have an impact on, so it would be better for you to start looking now rather than wait until rates increase and the value of the home increases at 5%, which is what's predicted. And so let me know when you'd like to get together.
And
So-
plus, oil prices just hit $81 a barrel the other day, which is the highest in like 4 years or something like that. It's like, you know, it's like between gas and interest rates. Why?
The number I heard, from NAR coming out back at Mega Camp was that the cost of housing will be 17% more next year. Based on house price going up, interest rates going up, different things like that. It will cost about
And Robin,
17% more.
And tariffs also, because you got right now 10% more on certain lumber and materials
Oh,
If you're
wow.
building,
and steel,
So
so,
you're
and that's going to
building-
25 to the possible.
If you're building, you truly may be in a mill of a house.
I was gonna say, on that note, something that's been effective is that you can actually say, you know, last year when we potentially talked about you purchasing a home, we were looking at home prices in this range. Since then, the same home is now going for X% more, which is the equivalent, let's say, of $75,000 more. And what that means in a loan today is this and this, and should we wait for next year, we not only have a higher increase, let's say, of 17% in the price of the homes, we're also looking at potentially another percentage point. And so what that means over the life of a 30-year loan is this. So I think if you've got someone that leads with the logic and the finance, you just give them that. Because we waited a year, there's a penalty of this much to get the same home. And by waiting another year, it's going to cost you this much more to live in the same home. And then by the same token, if they're like, well, I can't afford that, it's even more reason to get in this year. And then down the road, it also shows the appreciation and then the fact that they'll have more equity in the home over time.
The new home.
Right.
Lastly, I would find out how much commute time they actually have. Is it an hour?
Oh, easily.
Okay, so hour and 15 minutes?
Probably.
Okay, hour and 15 minutes. So if you did this decision, you realize you get 2 hours and a half back in your life?
Every day.
You know what that means to your stress level and your family? How much family time are you missing out on a year? Calculate that out and say, you realize you're giving up your family life of this many hours?
Okay,
What
so
could you do with
that's
that?
10 hours a week per person, there's 2 of them, that's 20 hours a week in commute time.
Yeah.
And you multiply that.
I
times
be moving.
I mean,
And the other side of the coin is if we're not spending all that money on gas.
they have more money to spend on the house.
Right.
Yeah. Yep.
Ingrid, did you
Or
want
their
to say
family.
something a minute ago about that particular scenario? I thought I saw your hand up.
It's okay.
Okay, so get a buyer off the fence, sell a listing that you already have listed, or get a new one by lead generation. That's 3 great strategies to get a commission check in before the end of the year. So, I want you to do one more thing. Go back to your math of how many transactions you are short. This is called no payment. Go back to how many transactions you are short, and beside that, put an X. Besides the X, put your average commission per check. Just round it. Might not be perfect. Just round it. Is it 7,000? Is it 9,000? Is it 12,000? What's your average commission per check? Now, use your X to multiply the number you're short by your average commission.
I don't like this game.
You don't like this game?
Numbers are sexy. I like this game.
Yeah. So what did that do to you? Merry Christmas? But what if you did?
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, right? What if you did? So I want you to think about that in the next few weeks. I want you to think with high urgency. Write that down. High urgency. What do I need to do to close that gap between what I said I would do and what I've done? What do I need to do? And come up with your personal strategies to do that and go close that gap. Because Santa sees you when you're working. He sees you when you're working. that good? Is that a good little mastermind? Can you use some of the things you just got?
Sure.
If you can't, something's wrong with your finger. Because you certainly can. CBC.
Good morning. Jim just stepped out. I'm Joe Travato. This is Will Zakins. First of all, I want to thank you all for all the support and just being part of this market center. It's just a huge benefit for us, and we just love being here, part of this family. So I just want to say thank you. We can't say thank you enough. But a couple of things we want to touch base on today is where we are in the market. And is that Jim?
Yeah.
Jim.
Yeah.
Jim, go ahead. I teed you up. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. Jim Heitzer, Joe Travato, and the brains of the group, Will Zakins. Today, we were talking about interest rates moving up. Today is Fed funds meeting morning. Say that 5 times quick, okay?
I would say that word.
Yeah, no. Today will be number 3. At the beginning of the year, we were saying there would be 4 interest rate hikes. A couple of weeks ago, we were saying rates are at 4 3/8. Today, they're at 5%. We said by the end of the year, 5 1/4. That's exactly what we're going to be, but that leads in to what we were talking about and what we've been talking about the last couple of weeks, with every half point, which is about where we are right now, $60 per $100,000. That's the number you need to be telling to your clients. Okay, $400,000 house, $240 a month difference in payments.
Yeah, and to Kara's point, it's purchasing power. Half a point is about $25,000 to $35,000 in purchasing power. So to what Kara was saying is that you're going to get the same house, it's going to cost you more money. But for every quarter to a half a point is about $30,000. So just keep that in mind when you're trying to get someone off the fence.
And the other thing we've been seeing in a lot of the contracts that are coming in, or what we're recommending, it's not so much a quick closing, it's a quick closing with having the person stay in the house for an extended 60 days because they have not found a house. Okay, so that can be very attractive in this market also, where you're saying, okay, we'll close in the next 30 days, but we'll give you a lease back or a rent back for the 60 days. After 60 days, it becomes an investment property. Okay, so if they're buying it as their if they're buying it as their primary property, they can lease back or whatever they negotiate. They can say, hey, we'll let you stay in there for the next month or so without any payment, and that could be an inducement for that client selling them that house and that offer.
Awesome.
Questions?
You just got some more ammunition, didn't you, to get those buyers off the fence, Jill? Perfect.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Hi guys, I'm Charlie Pollard. I'm a closing attorney. That's me right there. Just a little procedural tip. I had 3 people ask me about this situation the last 2 weeks. Rich is one of them. We just talked about it on the phone. This is happening more and more. You've got an upcoming listing, and you don't even have a contract yet. But you know that your seller is going to be out of town. They travel a lot. Maybe they're going to be out of the country, and you want to go ahead and get a power of attorney now. Or maybe they already have one, and they're telling you that they're all set up. Well, if you're in that situation and you need a power of attorney before you have a contract, just give me a call. We can do that for you. All we really have to do is get the real report so we can pull the legal description, and we need to know the name of the person that's going to sign for them, and we can go ahead and draft that well before you even have a contract. Now, we normally charge $100 for that. If you're able to get the closing ultimately to us, we could waive that fee. So hopefully that could help your seller get a free POA. So we're happy to do that. Just those procedural things, you have to remember, I've been doing this for 10 years, over 10 years, so I've seen thousands of transactions. And all these little procedural things, when the first time you hear about it, it may cause you a little stress because it's a curveball. It's something maybe you haven't seen before, and it may cause your client some stress. Just know that you can call me at that phone number or give me an email, and anything along the way, I'm happy and honored to have the opportunity to be a resource for you. And it's normally something that I can probably answer quickly and get that piece of stress off your brain. And I'm pretty good about getting back to you that day. So feel free to give me a call, even if it's not a closing that's happening in our office. So again, Charlie Pollard, we made it without help. Thanks.
So Charlie, I had someone call me from another attorney's office today. I finally got so mad, I hung up on her. She told me, she called me and she said, I'm trying to write a check to you but your firm is not registered with the state of Georgia. And I said, yes it is. And she said, I'm telling you it's not. I said the name again. I said, ma'am, we receive checks every day from lots of attorneys in Atlanta. Keller Williams Realty, Peachtree Road is registered with the state of Georgia. I said, in fact, Keller Williams Peachtree Road is also registered with the state of Georgia. She said, I'm telling you it's not, and we're not paying your person. So I sent her to Aaron.
Sent her to the bulldog.
I haven't got that message yet. So Aaron could give her the number. But I tell you that so you can laugh at how angry I get sometimes and understand what it's like to work with someone who understands what we do every day on a daily basis. This was an attorney I had never heard of, and it was a commercial transaction, which I understand they have to do different things. But if she can't even look it up and find out that our name is registered with the state of Georgia, I would be very scared that she could do anything else.
Robin, on those notes with the smaller attorneys too, and we've had it in the last couple of weeks, their secure websites are generally not secure. We've had 2 clients that luckily got their money back, but they're picking off the email. Wiring instructions, they're picking them off, so you've got to be extremely careful, and with Charlie, his website is extremely secure.
When they're wiring funds.
Wiring funds.
I mean, we have an attorney that all she does, and she's been in the business a long time, is in charge of our compliance and security, things like that. So, you know, we're not a behemoth of a firm, but we are the size enough that we can take care of all the things that we're supposed to do to be in compliance with all the things that the banks require. So, some of those smaller offices, which, you know, I've worked for a smaller office too, there's a lot of great things about that, but we do have the resources to make sure that wires go to the right place.
Well, I appreciate you knowing that we're registered.
Or they come in.
I got a question. When somebody gets something to fill out for the closing attorney, right? And not y'all, but and it's a document that they got to fill it out, and then they have to send it in. So you send it in by email. That's dangerous, right?
It is, and we do have a portal, a secure portal, which is a lot of the title insurance companies, they require it. A lot of the lenders require it as best practices,
right.
But that doesn't mean that everybody handles it that
Still
way.
does it, yeah.
But yeah, anytime there's a social security number involved, or, you know, when we're asking for information from your seller, we're asking for account numbers for their mortgages and things like that. So you really. There's a right way.
Portal's essentially a website. You go to a website.
It's a website, and it makes sure that you know, basically the emails can't be hacked.
Right.
Okay. And we do everything that way. And any attorney that you work with, or anybody that's a lender, anybody that's going to try to relay wiring instructions or social security numbers, they really should be using that type of technology.
Right.
Even on our side, if we send out a credit report to a client, it's automatically in a secure scenario.
Right.
Okay, so it's not being picked off by somebody else.
Because I've run into that quite a few times where they just get a form to fill out, and I go, well, do you have a website for them to go on to and fill this out? They go, no.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, that's not good.
If you're dealing with somebody that, you know, doesn't have it set up,
right.
I would probably have your client call, like, send some information about a bank account or their social security number. I'd call and give it to somebody over the phone.
Right.
It's a little safer than put it in print or put it in.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because most attorneys would take that information.
Right.
Thank you. Training, Dory.
Training, here we go. Okay, so as you know, we've got Magical Mornings Daily in the other training room. And what's Magical Mornings for? Who's in the room that does Magical Mornings?
Legion.
Legion Inspiration Fund, 8:45 to 11. There's a faculty that hosts it every day, so please come and have fun there. On the 27th, which is tomorrow, purchase and sale agreement for 3 hours of CE with McManamy. Bill Shoemaker's coming in, so if you need some CE credit and haven't done the purchase and sale this year, please come on in. On the 27th, also in the afternoon, Wealth Building with Karen Smythe, our very own. Ignite continues daily for the next 5 weeks, so check the calendar for the topic of the day. If you need a refresher somewhere, come on in.
On the 2nd of October, the 5 to 15 mastermind with Justin Landis in the morning over in the bullpen area of the expansion space from 9 to 10:30. His topics are fabulous. On the 2nd, also find your niche with the Suits team, 2 to 3. That's a productivity ALC program like yesterday. Who was in the room yesterday when Beth Basel was here? And if you haven't, you can go on our YouTube channel and subscribe and stream it. It was fabulous. The room was packed to the gills. She gave lots of great tips about your sphere, your database, and not burning out. On the 4th of October, next Thursday, again with McManamy, exhibits and amendments for another 3 hours of CE. So if you haven't done that, please come on in.
And those are not charged. Those
They're free CE classes. Free classes, CE classes. And next Thursday night, we have our career night from 5 to 8. We turn the room into a cute little bistro. And if you know of anybody interested in coming into real estate, if you worked across the table from somebody that you feel would be a great fit for us, please invite them. We would love to meet them. Faculty leadership will be here, and we'll do our best to bring them into your downline.
Should we invite somebody that's an agent with another company that we're trying to get to come
Yes,
here?
that's a great thing to do. That's why we have career night.
Okay.
Any questions? Yes, John?
May I plug a class that's coming on the 18th of October here at Peachtree Road?
Sure.
From 1 to 4:15. It's called Ethics.
Ethics? What's that, John?
Yeah, it's a little class.
Teacher's pretty good, I heard.
So,
I don't know about that.
I don't know. There's mixed
I heard
results.
he's great.
Yeah, you know, some
Hear
people
that, or
think
did
so.
you
Some people
pay to say that?
So speaking of code of ethics, John, how many people got Kathy's email that their code of ethics is due for this year? A lot more people in here, if you haven't seen it. Your code of ethics is due every 2 years. You have to do it again. So that's twice before your renewal time.
What time
Is license law the same way?
4 years.
4 years.
4 years.
Renewal period. This is required by the board, and if you took it in 2016, do not ask me to have to take it again, because yes, you did.
Yeah.
It's 17,
1 to
18.
4:15.
You're gonna be 17 or 2017.
John,
By the
John will
end of
make
this
it
year.
fun, I
He
promise.
does make it fun.
Lanisha.
Yeah, it's a good class.
Oh, one more.
Yeah, okay.
How to run your business like a business on October 11th.
Oh, if you, don't miss that one. Especially if you're young in the business or, you know, old in the business and stupid like I was.
Why'd you look at me when you
I
said
was
that?
looking at
She
you.
could have been looking at
But this class is the second reason I came to Keller Williams. I heard it and I felt like I had had a career for 16 years and knew nothing about running a business. And it was the class that made me say, if they are going to teach me that, I want to be there. And so it's Bob Kalinsky, and it's how to set up your business, not just your sales career.
And Lanisha, who is Bob Kalinsky, so everybody knows?
Bob Kalinsky he basically started the Southeast region.
He certainly
is. And it's a great class. I've taken it about 7 times. I mean, you always get something else from it, and it gives you all the foundation, the fundamentals of basically starting a business. Everything from getting your checking account set up, your personal and business, incorporation, profit and loss, budgets. This is really good. Then we'll have the workshops to follow to break down each of the 10 steps that he's going to talk about in the class. And CBC is providing lunch as well. So, come and eat.
What's happening Friday,
October
Dory?
11th, starting at 1.
What's happening this Friday? It's this Friday. I don't know what's happening. Sorry.
It's Cheese Festival.
No,
Cheese Festival, sorry. What's happening this Friday? I'm sorry. You threw it at me. Oh, I'm so sorry. Erin, what's happening Friday? You directed it to her.
So Gary Keller is doing a live stream event to talk about all the technology coming. So he's going to go through the entire thing of what's to come and give you guys an idea and show you what tools you'll have at your fingertips. And again, all of this stuff is being covered. I mean, like, it's coming to you free. And it's an all-day event, so it says from 10 to 4 Central Time, which is 11 to 5 our time. What we're gonna do is we're gonna live stream it in here as well, have some popcorn, have some fun. If you can join us, great, and get some really good information about what's coming, because
This
We are in
Friday.
a technology
This Friday.
revolution,
This Friday.
and you have to jump on board now. Now is the time.
And
Go
may
ahead.
I?
Yeah.
My concern about this, is if anybody else in the room besides me is a procrastinator, my concern is that you won't jump on the front end, and then the learning curve will be so big on the back end that you just go, I can't do that. And so he's gonna show you what's already available and kind of talk about that and the benefits of that, and what is to come, and it's supposed to be pretty much ready for the most part, the biggest of it by February. So if you could kind of go ahead and start learning what is, I think you'll be a step ahead. E-Edge is going to be combined into and kind of go away, and will be combined into our new system. How many know Justin Seavey? Pretty big producer in town, would you say? Like one of the biggest, would you say? Justin said that he spends a lot of money on add-on products like Boomtown and different products, Follow Up Boss, different products that he pays money for every month. And Justin has been very influential, as has our own J.D. Kellum from a single agent standpoint, Justin more from a big group, large team standpoint of this is what I need these systems to do, or I'm not fooling with them, is exactly what he said. And so they have built them through these labs. Justin said it's going to save him $96,000 a year in his business, because he will do away with all of the add-ons that he's had to add, because it will all be covered in Command. So I strongly urge you to listen once, twice, there's something about that, 3 times a
Maybe.
Oh, great.
Oh, great.
So you said it's from 11 to 5 on Friday?
It's 11 to 5 on Friday. I know.
Is it gonna be recorded?
I'm not sure about that, but what I do know is I'm flying out to Austin next Thursday night. And, I'll be out there the next Friday, so I know he's gonna do it again. I just don't know if that'll be live streamed or not. So, I would get as much of it as I could, and then if you'll start watching, sometimes on Mondays, they live stream just little segments of like this product or that product that they're working on. So you can kind of get it in little segments, and it may be recorded. I don't know the answer to that yet.
Okay.
Okay, but we're gonna have some treats in here and have a little fun on Friday, but it is from 11 to 5 our time, okay? Here in
So from 11 to 12, we'll be streaming in the expansion training room, and then once the night is over, we'll pull it up in here.
Oh, okay.
Just
Okay.
saying.
But you can watch it from anywhere, you don't have to come here. Fair enough? I really think you should work on that one. Okay? You have in front of you, we went over this about 2 or 3 weeks ago, but I wanted you to have a copy of it, and we will be finished. We may actually get out a few minutes early today. This is the disappearing cap that we talked about. If you remember correctly, you have a great opportunity coming to do away with your cap for 1 year, and you can do it over and over again. It's got the guidelines. If you look on the first page, it says all market center agents will qualify for the disappearing cap for 1 cap year. Eligible at when? Annual cap renewal. So, in other words, if you qualify for a cap reduction, it will, and your anniversary's in February, when your anniversary rolls around, your cap will be reduced next year. Got it? The market center will decrease based on the number of recruited agents that have designated the current KW agent as his or her sponsor. So you have to be named as the sponsor. And the recruit must be joining the respective market center of that sponsor. Capping, half capping, and other producing or newly licensed agents will result in a reduced cap based on the reduction scales below. The first one would be a capping agent. Because our cap is $15,000 here at the market center level, you're gonna get 1/4 reduced, so that's $3,750. The agent must have produced verifiable on Brokermetrics 1.8 million, and you can get a $3,750 reduction, and so on and so on and so on, until your cap goes away, and then we'll carry it over for the next year if you want us to. Half cap will result in $1,875 reduction per half capper, and a new agent will be $1,000 per recruit. Fair enough? Okay. And the back sheet is the disappearing cap agreement, and it says that it is your responsibility to bring this form to us when the agent signs up and recognizes you as their sponsor. It says, as an agent who is building my wealth through the profit share system, I'm excited about adding Sally Sue to my downline. The agent has joined my market center, and we will correct the mistake I see and named me as their sponsor. I understand that for every capping agent that joins and fix that, names me as their sponsor, my cap will be reduced by 25% for 1 year. For half cappers, 12.5%, and for other producing or newly licensed agents, my cap will apply, and you can touch this, $1,000. The recruit has not successfully closed the transaction at my cap renewal, the reduction shall apply at the time of the first closed transaction. Any questions about that?
I do have a question. So I do have one person that's considering, but if she does, she's gonna go with another kid at the office because of the location.
Yeah.
So would I still qualify if it's for a different office?
You will as her sponsor, but you will not qualify for disappearing cap.
Okay.
It has to be at the market center that where you are. I can't give away their money.
Right.
Wish I could.
Right.
That's a great question, Cindy. Anything else? Everybody understand? Great. Have you had fun today? How?
Just going to share something on a calendar item, since we had a list of calendars. If anybody's interested, I went to a lecture this morning with the editor-in-chief of House Beautiful magazine. Very interesting talk. And the magazine has just built a concept house from scratch in historic Brookhaven. Their big national thing of the year is like 2 miles from here.
No.
Well, we should. And then October 20th is supposed to be open. I understand it's not they have a charity event on Thursday night and Friday, Saturday. So if I get more details, but it's on Carter Drive, which is a short little street off Beach Street, Dunwoody, in historic Brookhaven. And if I get more details, I can share if anybody's interested.
That would be wonderful. I'd love to go see that.
Yeah. So it sounds pretty cool. She was an interesting woman. And
October 20th?
October 20th is Saturday.
That would be fun. I drive all the way to,
But I mean, it's 2 miles from here. It's a big
Sonoya to
national
see the
house.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Anything else? Thanks for sharing that. Well, thank you for coming today. You've got your disappearing cap. You know what you need to do to get your closings in before the end of the year and finish strong, right?
Thanks, Robin.
Bye-bye.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
That's a couple more days.
Or what about the Jewish
Thanks. See you later.
Jory, oh my land.
Oh, yes, oh, my land.
I haven't talked to her yet, so I called you.
Oh, okay.
Let me tell you something.
Tell me something good.